Right, so we got a video by Psyche, I think that says. It's called The Rise of $20 Skins. Now, I've seen a couple of videos by this guy. We talked about him on the last stream, I think, again. Well, not about him, but like we watched some of his videos, talked about some gacha stuff to do with a lot of this, you know, $20 skins, and there's also some like scam gacha games and things, which are very, very interesting, and I really want to see what he has to say about the rise of $20 skins, because again, I'm a person who plays a lot of these kind of games which has, you know, these kind of mechanics, these kind of skins and stuff, which again, very, very much interest me. So let's get into it.
Brought to you by LD Player.
Oh, LD Player. First of all, I use LD Player. If you guys have any emulators or whatever that you need for like mobile games, I definitely think that LD Player is a very good emulator. I think it's better than BlueStacks. I think BlueStacks actually kind of tanks your PC a little bit and kind of takes a little tax on it, which isn't great. What is this wuwa and X National Geographic Channel collaboration? Oh yeah, there is a new thing out about that. I do have another video coming out, which is coming out tomorrow, talking everything about it. So yeah, if you want to see that, go to my YouTube tomorrow. It'll be out 2 p.m. BST. And yeah. No, it's a really cool collaboration though. It's like some new like skins and stuff. It's really, really cool. Anyways.
A lot of my gameplay footage using a PC and an emulator. I never got used to gaming on a mobile device.
No, neither.
The display feels small, controls are sluggish,
why are we watching
and
a sponsor? Sorry. Anyways, LD Player, very, very good. Let's actually get into this video.
How much would you be willing to pay for a skin in a video game? $5? $10?
Oh my days.
$60? Well, today's...
Yeah, NIKKE is pretty crazy whenever it comes to skins. They have these like gacha systems, which I don't think is very good just for the overall gacha community. Having skins that are locked behind where you can spend up to $60 on them isn't great. Whenever some people could spend about like, I think it's like $10 is like the minimum. Yeah, it can kind of suck, and you can probably see why there's a big issue behind that, because skins have notoriously just been a straight up payment and have never been gacharized or anything like that whenever it comes to this kind of stuff. But now NIKKE have kind of caught on to people will actually gacha for skins as well now, which, yeah, kind of sucks, but, you know, I can't do anything about it.
This discussion video will be something that I think a lot of players, not just in the gacha community, will find very debatable.
Oh my god, yeah.
$20 skins.
$20.
Do you agree or disagree? Well, at first it does sound pretty absurd. No matter how much you add to a character, it's hard for someone to justify $20 for a purely cosmetic item.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know anyone that would be stupid enough.
I have bought that exact same skin. I have the same Senti skin
to buy one of those. Absolutely ridiculous. Well, in this video, I will explain the nuances of the historic rise of video games.
Which game is this again? This isn't Snowbreak, is it? It's like, is it Girls 1 and 2? That looks insane.
Skin pricings. How the $20 price tag has become so prevalent in the industry, and maybe,
oh my days,
just maybe, I may be able to change your mind on this subject matter. My name is Psyche. Let's begin.
Oh my god, that is some old Azur Lane footage there.
First, let's define a skin. What is a skin? Well, how I define a skin and the type I will be talking about are alternative appearances or outfits for an in-game character that changes nothing about their gameplay and is purely cosmetic. Now, we've already run into a bit of a hiccup. Video game skins are purely cosmetic.
Yeah.
Do you agree with this sentiment? Because some people don't. And this is already where it gets a little complicated.
Yeah, I mean, there are some kind of games out there where skins can kind of provide you with a little bit of an advantage. But in gacha games, I don't think it actually makes a difference. I think, honestly, it's purely cosmetic, and I haven't really seen any kind of difference in gameplay, but I can kind of understand it in games like Call of Duty and stuff, where you got a different skin, and maybe it changes, like, the reticle of your gun or something like that. And that could, you know, obviously give some people an advantage, but whenever it comes to gacha games and just, like, outfits for characters, obviously, it doesn't really make a difference.
Now, I myself make content on gacha games. Gachas are obviously not the only video game genre that does skins, but there is one major distinction that is true most of the time. Gacha games are primarily single-player games. You can't see other players nearly as prominently as multiplayer titles like COD or Fortnite. In these games, yes, you will be able to see other players. You will be able to show off your shiny skins, whether you got them from a lucky draw or just wailed out the wazoo for it. This means what historically used to show off the achievements that each player has accomplished was reflected in the skin that they used, like a cosmetic that unlocks whenever they get a certain amount of kills.
Which does kind of like feel weird that like a lot of people buy gacha skins, but like, you know, I also do that. So yeah, it is weird that like, you know, you're never going to actually show it off to anybody like you would in like a Call of Duty lobby or whatever game it is where you can have skins and like it looks different, or even like Fortnite or something like that, where it is very different and you're like, oh damn, that guy's got a cool skin. Whereas in like games like Genshin or NIKKE or whatever, you're not really playing against anybody unless you play like some of the PvP or co-op or whatever like that. But again, it really doesn't make much of a difference, and it's not really much of a flex. You just said that you spent $20 on something, so yeah, it's a little bit weird.
Obviously, with the introduction of paid skins, this has changed a little. How a player shows off their cosmetics, especially when there's so many of them these days, muddies the water on how that player got that skin, which pollutes what skins stood for in the good old days. This is the main argument that skins are not just cosmetics, and I can definitely see that as a valid reason.
Yeah.
But it's only true for games of these types specifically.
Yeah, it's more PvP.
You can't see other players' profiles or characters in a gacha game. Despite being live service in nature, any skins you buy is exclusive for your eyes only. So in this instance, wouldn't the argument make more sense? Furthermore, gacha games...
I think that like also with co-op as well, and as he went through in the NIKKE screen there, he went through people's profiles, so you can actually see that and other people can see it. So I don't think it's strictly just for you to see, but it is very mainly just for you to see.
Have only started being popularized in the late 2010s, and historically most of them had always done paid skins. There was never the good old days where they were earnable. Allow me to play devil's advocate by saying that the purely cosmetic argument does make sense in some scenarios, but it is nuanced. When I go to explore how gacha games in particular handle cosmetic skins, maybe you'll see a different side of the coin. I don't want to encourage devs' predatory nature of locking the cooler and better quality outfits behind a paywall.
Let's be real here, NIKKE makes some of the best skins in gacha. I mean, I think they're up there with like games like Azur Lane. I think Azur Lane also makes some of the best skins in gacha. But yeah, those two I think are the main top ones. They are so detailed, they're so good. I think that, you know, there's pretty much something there for everyone. And yeah, sometimes they are locked behind gacha, which I said in NIKKE happens. But if you think about some of the other games and stuff like that, obviously Genshin, they do release some cool skins, but I don't think they're anywhere near as good as they could be, you know? I think they could be a little bit better, and every time a skin comes out, especially like the Garni one and stuff like that, people were saying like, well, it's good, but like, you know, it's nothing that special. But, you know, obviously still a ton of people bought it. But yeah, I think that a lot of people need to take note of a lot of these gacha games that do it well. Obviously, yeah, as I said, Azur Lane, NIKKE, I think PGR does some pretty good ones as well. But hopefully, especially with Wuthering Waves as well, obviously I talk about Wuthering Waves quite a bit. Wuthering Waves definitely need to take note of them as well, because I think if they add skins into the game, it's just another source of revenue. As like Azur Lane, they are really, really free to play friendly. Like they give you a ton of pools all the time, and the main thing that they make money off is skins. Like that's the main thing, and I think that that's what's going to keep a game alive, is that they find out what sells well and then they sell it. Not just the gacha game, because obviously gacha game stuff can sell well, and having like gacha for a character, you know, does well. But if you add all of these elements around it, it's going to help you to sustain the game a much more. And I think with Wuthering Waves, a new starting out game, is going to be really, really beneficial. It's also for show off. My friends always co-op with skins. Yeah, exactly. I can kind of see that. But again, with like, it depends what kind of game you're playing as well. I think Genshin skins are just like, it's like, oh wow, okay. I don't think they look that much different, and sometimes they kind of blend into some of the normal characters anyways. Genshin skins are either incredible or just okay at best. There's no in between, and it really shows that money is the main focus most of the time. Yeah, I think that some of them have been really, really good, but some of them have been also a little bit mid. Now, the recent one with Karara, I actually really liked that one, and I forgot what the other one was. I think, I don't know. But like, Ayaka's skin wasn't very good. Garnius was alright, Shenhe's was alright, but again, it was nothing special, and I saw a lot of people being like, oh, we don't really like this.
But I just want to start the video by saying that as a content creator on gacha games, I believe how a video game skin is defined can be nuanced. Yeah. I do agree with the purely cosmetic argument to a certain degree.
Okay.
Let's start by discussing how video game skins have evolved over the years. In one of my favorite content creators, Josh Strive Hayes' video, What Went Wrong with Gaming, the idea is that instead of giving the full package of a game sold as a single purchase, a developer can now sell small cosmetic packages behind a microtransaction, and purposely making the base version of something inferior to incentivize buying the premium cosmetics. Absolutely, I agree with this sentiment. But I'm sure a lot of discussions surrounding video games as a medium is that games are now sold as a service. This means in the context of video games, skins alongside significant updates to the game are not planned out from the get-go. They're ideas thrown around and released periodically as more content comes out. Of course, I'm absolutely...
Do you think about weapon skins in some games? I mean, you know, some weapon skins would be cool, but I think for like Wuthering Waves and Genshin, it just doesn't really make sense, because the main kind of pull of a weapon, and whenever you pull on a weapon, is that the weapon looks different. So I don't think you should add a skin onto them. But if you're thinking about other gacha games, for example, Stranova, which was a beta which I played a couple of days ago, they had like guns and stuff like that, which you could have skins for, which I think is a good thing. It honestly just depends on what kind of thing that you're adding a skin to. But if there's already a weapon banner, probably not.
Not defending selling an incomplete or unfinished product. The core gameplay loop in the base version of the game has to be fun and functional in order for enough people to buy in and continue playing.
Yeah.
I think some people today tend to look at the big dogs in the live service industry and look at all the needlessly convoluted skins that you can buy.
There are so
In this
many.
cutthroat industry, you have to make a functional game that's fun and worthy of continuing playing at launch.
I definitely think that's where like games like Snowbreak kind of fall down a little bit. Because obviously they enticed a lot of people with all the skins and new characters they're bringing out. And obviously the character design is really, really good and it's made them a ton of money, especially recently. It's kind of brought them up on the gacha chart and places like that. But I also think that they have to keep the people in there for longer. Obviously, if you got a bad game, but some of it looks good, then some people are going to come over, try it out, and then realize, oh, this is a bad game. I'm not going to play it anymore. And I think that's what Snowbreak is starting to see. Snowbreak isn't necessarily a bad game, but they didn't really change anything to do with the game. So I definitely think that, you know, with the stuff that goes on in the game, I think that definitely needs to be changed, as well as whatever, you know, the cosmetic stuff. Because, you know, companies can focus a ton on cosmetics, and that's great. Obviously, as I said, Azur Lane and other companies like that do that kind of stuff. But also, their game is good. So that's why it sells so much more, because people come back and keep, you know, buying it and keep, you know, getting a lot of these skins because they know that they can use it in a game that's actually good. Whereas if you get a skin in a game that's bad, well, that's just a pointless skin and no one's going to buy it. For Wuthering Waves and Genshin, weapon skins wouldn't do much since the characters tend to override the designs anyways, yeah. And use their own or cover them with an element, yeah. I definitely don't think, yeah, it won't make much sense.
A developer messes up in any way, unless any mistakes can be corrected with appropriate timing, that game has very little chances of being successful. I believe this is a classic case of survivorship bias.
Okay.
Whenever I see the argument that skins are not just cosmetic, what usually gets pointed to are the massively popular titles.
Yeah.
Of course, you would think that the skin packs from the Sims series, the bloated selection of skins from the COD series to be predatory and serve only to line the pockets of its publishers. But what you don't see are the thousands of low-effort shovelware games that get shut down instantly when they try to pull off the same thing, because you never hear about them. Now look, going into the gacha market, which is a bit more niche than typical gaming, a lot of these smaller titles get terminated left and right.
Yeah.
Just because the big dogs are having success doing it doesn't mean skins are an automatic score for making money. They work because the base gameplay loop is fun.
Yeah.
And if a developer...
As I said, you need a game to actually be good in the first place for people to want to buy it. Now, again, there will be people that will just like kind of mindlessly join, buy the skin, and then realize it. But most of the time, it does have to be a good game, and people have to do it first and play it first before actually getting a, you know, buying that game. I like the NPC design and add them as skins like the Lady Officer skin in the new event of wuwa. Yeah.
tries to pull a fast one by making shovelware or a cash grab without too much innovation, not even the shiniest skin can save them.
Oh my god, that is plagiarism.
So, let's take a look at how gacha games handle skins a bit differently.
Yeah.
One major advantage of gacha games is that much like gambling in a casino, they can often skew the perception of money. When I see an online post saying that it costs over $100 to get a copy of the desired character, just understand that is completely normal.
Yeah.
As much as it is sad to say it, in the context of gacha games, spending $200 or $300 to guarantee a rate-up SSR is normal.
Yeah.
I usually don't bring this up in my reviews because this is the usual expectations for a gacha game. If you pay for the low spender packages, save diligently, or plan ahead, and you can still get what you want with relatively little or no money at all. Buying the gacha currency directly, though, tends to be a much worse deal in terms of efficiency. If the developer didn't go the gacha route and stuck a one-time payment of, just, $100 to get a specific character, that would seem like an absurd offer.
Yeah, I think like gacha games kind of mask stuff with that because people think, ooh, I have a chance of getting it early or something like that. Whereas if they did just offer like, $100 for this character, then no one's going to buy that. I think that gacha games definitely do a good job at masking it, whether that's predatory or not, well, it is, but like at the same time, people just don't really notice that, and then they end up spending even more than they probably would have for just buying a character straight up.
Integrated with an RNG loot box system, and it becomes an effective way to muddy the waters of the actual price of what you want. What I'm trying to get with all of this is that skins also get the same treatment.
Yeah.
Much like the addictive and gambling nature of gacha mechanics, a lot of the skins introduced in today's day and age can employ similar tactics to obscure the actual cost of the skin to justify the price.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the gacha. This is what the gacha thing looks like in NIKKE. So pretty much you spin on the banner like any other banner. You kind of, yeah, it's pretty much like a normal gacha banner. You pull on it, you get one free one, which is nice. But the problem is with the free one, you don't have a single chance of getting the actual skin that you want. You only get some of the like blue, because they sort it into rarities. They go blue for like rare, then they go epic, and then legendary, which is the legendary thing is the skin. But for the like first free pool, it's all blue, so you just end up getting some like, you know, materials or something like that. Then for the other like epic stuff, I'm pretty sure it's these pools or any one of the stuff below it. And then finally, you get the legendary. But sometimes the legendary doesn't even show up until you pull like 3 or 4 times, but at that point you've already spent the money on like kind of pulling on that gacha thing, which again isn't great. I think there's a skin for $500 for for Ari in League of Legends. A lot of people bought it. Yeah, there are going to be people that are going to spend money on that kind of stuff, and I think League is a very, very good example of like people will still buy stuff if it is expensive. There are rich people out there, let's not just forget that, and also just people who are really dedicated to a game. And I think that obviously there is a difference, because lots of people could pull on a banner or buy a skin or whatever because it's only $10. It only costs them $10, and there's so many people that want that, and then that makes them a ton of money, because obviously, you know, let's say there's like 1 million people that buy this $10 skin or whatever. So that's a lot of money. Obviously you get like 10 million there. But the difference is with the other skins, like $500 skins, obviously less people are going to buy it. Maybe, let's say 1,000 people buy it. But at the same time, it's $500. So that's 1,000 times 500. So again, you get much more like return, even if less people are buying it. And yeah, I definitely think that it is a pretty weird way of selling a skin, but it does also prove that people will just buy anything anyways.
What about a skin that's earnable through a paid
That looks like
battle
Genshin's
pass?
thing, what the hell?
You can't buy it by itself, so you don't know how much of it goes to the skin or the other rewards.
Yeah.
What if the skin uses an in-game currency that's sold in uneven amounts? What if the skin itself has a gacha system?
Yeah, that's what
NIKKE is a pretty atrocious example of this, because I myself was once a victim to it. See this 2B outfit? Instead of buying Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, or Cyberpunk 2077,
that's crazy.
I bought this instead for $60. How it works is
That's
that you get a random
luck.
reward every time you spin the wheel with paid tickets. A reward is taken out of the pool, and the premium skin has the lowest chance to drop at first, but slowly increases until it's the last option.
Yeah, there's
in the
no
pool.
option for legendary.
The vast majority of the time, this is going to be the case, with the absolute maximum you have to pay being...
I played Call of Duty Mobile of people who spent $2,000 to $6,000. Yeah, again, it's bad.
Around $60.
$60.
Though it is possible, no matter how slim the chances may be, to get it early. I mean, look at this Reddit user here.
Yeah, I got the crown skin on the for NIKKE. I got the crown skin, which was a gacha skin, and I don't think like I got it really, really early, so it was really great. And obviously, if it got up to like the amount that he's saying, I wouldn't pull on it. That's just like the dumbest thing ever. But yeah, it's definitely quite a lot, and it kind of skews people's perspectives whenever they are pulling on it.
They got it with one of their first pulls. For the record, I do not consider limited quantity supplies or auctionable skins to be the topic of this video, since by that point you're getting it for its exclusivity and collection purposes. In other words, the skin can't have liquidity, meaning if you shell out the appropriate cash, you will be able to obtain it. The skin cannot run out of stock, nor can you sell that item on an online market of sorts. If we consider auctionable cosmetics, that is a whole can of worms in terms of monetization.
Whether that's against TOS
One advantage Gacha Games have in this regard is avoiding the cosmetic bloat. Since there has to be a set amount of classes or characters in a multiplayer-focused game, the gacha can simply just add more characters. It's fine if a single character has a few skins, because if it gets too many, the game introduces another shiny new SSR to pull on, and bam, you got a new blank template to slap skins onto. What if skins were the primary method of monetization in a free-to-play game? Azur Lane and Girls Frontline's gacha system infamously have you pull skins instead of characters. You can get all the units in-game relatively cheap, but the skin gacha is often the center of a lot of discussion.
I don't think Azur Lane has any skin gacha. I think you can just buy them straight up. I might be wrong on that. They might have another kind of thing where you can actually do gacha. But yeah, they do have a lot of options for, just like straight up paying for them. It usually costs like $20 or like a little bit less than that. And I think that's much better, because at least you know what you're getting, and it's not like a gacha thing where it's like, oh, it could be $60, it could be nothing, which is a little bit weird. But Azur Lane, I definitely think, has the best way of going around it, because if you don't want those skins, then you get a lot of free 5 stars. Like, you get a lot of free cool characters that, you know, that still look really good without any skins. So I definitely think Azur Lane knows what they're doing with skins and just overall characters, which is great. It would be good if Wuthering Waves introduced skins in form of gacha with different currencies, not asteroid. In free form? Yeah, in a free form, I don't think gacha is bad for a skin. I definitely think if they released things like kind of currency where you could get like a free skin or something like that, that would be good. But I think whenever you start adding payment to gacha skins, it's kind of bad, because obviously someone will just keep spending and spending and spending on it, which obviously these companies don't care about because, you know, they're making money. But from like a moral standpoint, obviously it is kind of bad.
And leading to some players feeling frustrated and quitting the game. From an outsider's perspective, how can a purely cosmetic item cause so much backlash? Isn't it a really good deal for free-to-plays if all the gameplay aspects are available for everyone to use? This will probably be a topic for another time, but it's something to think about. But why $20 specifically? Why is this price the topic of the video?
Because it's not too cheap.
Well, I'm sure everyone's seen some of those by this point, no matter which game you play, and I'm sure most will consider $20 as a ludicrous price to pay for a cosmetic item. But let's play devil's advocate. The famous game director Yoko Taro has once mentioned something called the invisible wall in video games, a barrier that defines what is and isn't possible for games to achieve. He argues that there exists a gray zone within that wall, where something is theoretically possible, but only no one has found a way to achieve it. What if a video game is physically not designed to be beaten? What if a game is only 10 minutes long, but it was the best 10 minutes of your life? What if a skin is so well made and so high quality that people would justify paying $20 for it?
Yeah, I think there's also like a lot of these situations where people put value on things, you know? It's not like it's a thing that the game puts value on, but you're like, okay, this skin is enough to cost $20. The same as we were talking about with the League of Legends skin with Ari, some people actually thought $500, oh yeah, that's a steal. This skin's so good, it's worth way more than $500. I'm definitely buying that. Like, bro, there are people out there who do put value on things that are way too high, and that's just their personal opinion, and that's why so many people buy these skins for such high prices.
Let's explore this gray zone. Is there a way for everyone to see eye to eye and say, yep, I paid $20 for that? In other words, let's try to justify $20 skins.
Okay.
Well, first, we need to do a bit of searching on what the best possible skins are in video games, and if they truly have what it takes to earn the $20 award.
Yeah.
Starting from the bare minimum, we have palette swaps or transmog color schemes. I think many would agree that charging money for changing the hue of an outfit or weapon to be absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no.
Some games have tried to pull this one off. What about a simple outfit change? Nothing about the voice lines or the animations of a character is altered in any way, only their physical appearance. I'm sure outside of gacha games, this is what most would consider as the standard for a video game skin.
Yeah,
whether you
definitely
might be willing to pay $20, well, that really depends on the quality of the outfit. But let's go one step further. What if the skin also included a brand new set of voice lines or animations?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You had to go bother the voice actors to get it, so at least some degree of work went there.
It'd be also stuff like in the game too. I think that'd be really cool. Obviously, NIKKE, like the gun sound changes or something like that. It definitely adds value to it.
As well. Same goes for rigging any motion capture. Big work, but is it enough to enter the $20 range?
Oh, if it's
maybe
got stuff
not,
like that,
but
then
let's
yeah.
get experimental. Azur Lane's gacha skins are famously known for its high-quality live 2D animations. In fact, this Reddit post right here had instructions on how to see the hidden interactions with a skin, like if you tap on certain areas on the screen or adjusting the character's expression, the opacity of the clothing, and other various things that will get this video demonetized.
What the hell?
What about Neural Cloud's interactive skins where you can take off the character's tights? Or this one where you can toggle different modes to remove certain articles of clothing. What about Snowbreak's interactive $20 skins, where you get a dormitory area with the character fully modeled in 3D, with controls to trigger cutscenes and other unsavory ways to appeal to your fantasies? The typical gamer might look at this and think, is there something that's not Coomer bait? That's exactly why some of these players play these games. With unique voice lines, animations, victory poses, and interactivity, would that be enough to start entertaining the idea of $20 skins?
Yeah, I think a lot of gacha games especially are adding lots more like features to these kind of skins, which make people think that it's much more worth whatever it's worth. So I definitely can see why they are kind of increasing in price. Obviously with Snowbreak, I think that's a very good example. they've got like all these animations and special story stuff added onto it, which is cool. Now, obviously, if it's just like a change of how a character looks, maybe, you know, it is worth a little bit less. And I think that, you know, that is a totally valid thing. But if they add more stuff to the character other than just the skin, I think it is worth, you know, a little bit more than what maybe some people are like thinking.
My personal opinion, probably not. But it is something to get you thinking. People often justify their spending habits because it's spent on something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
This argument often gets brought up among gacha players. Who cares if someone spends $20 on a PNG file? Who cares if someone blew $20 or even $60 on a skin? If it brings them enjoyment and doesn't affect other players, then who are you to judge?
Yeah.
There are certain things in this world that are worth nothing to some people, but worth a fortune to others. Much like how old
What would happen if this game was made into VR? Oh my god, Snowbreak in VR would be insane.
baseball cards or sneakers can get someone to shell out the big bucks.
Yeah.
A transaction happens when a buyer and seller are willing to exchange something for the same price. If someone values a cosmetic item at $20 or more, then they would be willing to part with their money to get it.
Yeah.
You might think it's absolutely ridiculous that people pay money for these worn pieces of cardboard. But at the end of the day, the pricing of these skins work for some players because it has value to them.
I think it also like goes into other stuff as well, like card games. Like me and well, I've been getting into like Magic a bit more now, and Red New's been getting me into it as well. And I think that there is a lot of different values on cards, and sometimes like it's not because it's like a Giga Ultra card which is super powerful, or like it's got something like really cool on it. It's mainly just down to like the art on it or something like that. Like someone really likes the art and it's a little bit rare, so then the price absolutely skyrockets, which again, I think is really cool, and I think it is a cool aspect of like card games, even with like Pokemon cards and stuff like that too. It's the same thing. People are like, oh damn, I got this special version of this card. And like people kind of value it at different things. Whereas some people like who don't like card games and things like that might think, oh, well, why are you spending so much money on a card that's like, it's just a piece of cardboard? But you know, some people find the worth in it, some people don't, and I think that is the case with Gacha Skins as well.
Now, I don't wish to normalize $20 skins or even start entertaining the ideas that they are acceptable, but this is a trend that's present not just in gacha games. They do work some of the time. The typical gamer, when discussing this topic online or even in this video's comments, would never admit to being interested or buying skins of this price. But from a cost efficiency standpoint, if skins are relatively cheap to make while the revenue potential is large, even if only a silent minority buys it, then it has accomplished its task.
Definitely.
All I'm asking is to put a bit more effort into them. Anyways, let me know what you think, and if this video has changed your perception on paid skins in any way. I'm curious to see if players across all genres come to some sort of consensus regarding this. That's it for me today. If you wish to see other gacha related content just like
that was a really, really good video. Obviously, this is from Psyche. I definitely recommend checking it out. Yeah, I think it definitely depends on what kind of gacha game it is. If it's like, you know, what they're kind of adding to the character itself, and that kind of justifies whether it's worth that amount of money or not. Now, if it has extra animations, extra like stuff to it, other than a costume design or whatever, then I definitely think that it can, you know, go up to a price like that. But if it is just a little bit of a recolor or a little bit of a redesign, then I can kind of understand why some people would be kind of angry with that kind of price. So yeah, it was a very, very interesting topic. I definitely recommend checking out this video. I'll leave a link in the chat, and I've also left a link down in the description below if you guys are watching this on the video. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking out this video and checking out this channel. I won't click end stream this time, I promise. I'm gonna click stop recording, and yeah,